From Hollywood, it's Paranormal Tonight. I'm Mark Summers, and now, here's your host, Dan Harary.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new edition of From Hollywood. It's Paranormal Tonight. I'm Dan Harary, broadcasting from beautiful downtown Beverly Hills, California. The sun finally came out today. It's been raining for about 3 months. I have a very interesting and very special guest today. My guest today is Rabbi Leon Mellul. He is a member of the Raelian Movement. Born into a traditional Jewish family in Morocco, Rabbi Leon was immersed in Jewish traditions, but as a child, he questioned the plural form of the word Elohim in the Hebrew Bible. In 1987, after reading the book Intelligent Design by a man named Rael, Rabbi Leon became convinced that the Elohim were an advanced race of extraterrestrials who had been misinterpreted as gods by early humans. Rael, a Frenchman and self-proclaimed prophet whose original name was Claude Vorilhon, has during the past 50 years written extensively and given lectures all over the world about his having met an alien named Yahweh in 1973 in France. It was Yahweh who told Claude that his race of ETs, the Elohim, had created mankind 25,000 years earlier on the earth. For many years, Rabbi Leon helped to establish the Raelian Movement in Israel, where he worked to spread the Elohim's messages of peace and love to rabbis, leaders, and the Israeli population. And a few years ago, he and his wife moved to Montreal, Canada, where they live today. And if I don't screw this up horribly, here comes Rabbi Leon. There he is. Thank you very much for coming in. So I just finished reading this book last night. I read it over the course of the last 6 weeks.
That's a revelation. And as you know, it can be downloaded for free on our website, rael.org.
Okay. So a few months ago, I'm sure you know about this, Netflix, I think it was Netflix, they did a documentary about Rael, which I watched, and I had never heard of him, to be honest. I had not heard of him. I watched it twice, and I found it fascinating, and then that's why I bought this book. And then I knew I was going to get you on, so that's why I made sure to finish reading it last night. This is a fascinating book. Tell us, my first question for you really is, give us a little history. Who was Claude Vorilhon?
Vorilhon, French.
And how did he become Rael?
Well, on December 13, 1973, Claude Vorilhon, like every usual day, took his car and was driving into his office close to Clermont-Ferrand. And all of a sudden, he felt the urge to go to another way, toward an old volcano where he used to go there with his family for picnic in summertime. So he climbed all the way up until the center of this volcano. And, he felt cold. It was December 13. He had work to do. As he had a magazine, sport car magazine.
Right.
Was his own business, and he was a fan of sport car magazines as well. Then when he reached there, he said, well, I'm cold here. I have work to do. What I'm doing here? And he was going to leave. Well, all of a sudden, he saw something in the skies. He thought it was an helicopter. Then there was no noise. And he realized it was a spaceship, not an airplane, not an helicopter, but a spaceship. Then he said, I'm not going to move because maybe they think I am a tree or something, and they're going to leave. He was very surprised when a ladder opened and he saw two legs coming down. Then he said, well, I'm not moving. He saw someone that at the beginning he thought was a child, 1.30 meters, 1.40 meters approximately, come out straight to him with almond-shaped eyes, a shiny face full of love, no weapons, nothing, and then he feel more secure. And this extraterrestrial walked to him directly, couple of meters, and the journalist that was Claude Vorilhon asked him a question. Do you speak French? Because that was the only language he used to speak at that time.
Okay.
And the extraterrestrial replied, I speak all the languages of the world in French. Then,
hold on. So this is an illustration of when Claude met his extraterrestrial.
Exactly.
This is in the materials that you guys sent me. And then this is another image
Of the extraterrestrial.
Now his name is Yahweh. Is correct?
Yeah.
This is Yahweh?
Yeah. Well, Yahweh. It's not a picture exactly. It was a representation or a drawing.
An illustration.
That's right. So this extraterrestrial told him, when Claude Vorilhon asked him, do you come here often? The extraterrestrial replied, I come here many times. And today, I come to meet with you. Your name is Claude Vorilhon. You're married. You have 2 children. You run a sport car magazine. And we telepathically induce you to come here today because we have a message for you. And we have also telepathically induced you 2 weeks ago to buy a Bible from La Pléiade, which is the only Bible translated in French where the name Elohim was not mistranslated by God and remained Elohim. Then he invited him into his craft. And, they sit together. And the extraterrestrial told him, this is the message that I have for you. We are the Elohim mentioned in the original Hebrew Bible. Over 25,000 years ago, we came to Earth and we start creating all lives with genetic manipulation of DNA, which is desoxyribonucleic acid. We started by creating all plants, then animals, and finally, after 12,000 years, we start creating man to our image after our likeness. We are the ones that send all prophets from all religions. Amongst the most important ones, Moses, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Joseph Smith, and many others that we have sent to Israel, that there were almost 40, if I believe 40 prophets that were sent to Israel. But, you know the story. They were all jailed or killed. Now, in 1945, on August 6th, after the Hiroshima bomb, the Elohim found the need to send one last messenger, because you can either auto-destruct yourself with nuclear power or you can progress. Then what happened is that we reached the time what they call apocalypse, which means revelation and not destruction.
Right.
Many people think it's destruction, but apocalypse means revelation. Then they send Rael, to whom they give the name of Rael, which is the root of the word Israel, and they give him 2 aims. The first one was to spread this message worldwide. The second one was to build an embassy, which is a 3rd temple the Jewish people are waiting for since ages. So Rael is the one that is waiting. Since generations, we have been waiting for as the Messiah to build the 3rd temple, as he is the last Elohim messenger, is automatically the Messiah.
And they chose him, I believe, because he was born in 1945, the year of Hiroshima, the same year.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And tell me, Rael means...
He was born in 1946.
Okay.
So a year after.
Okay, pretty close. Rael means what? Messenger of light? What does Rael mean, the word?
Listen, the word Ra, as you know, Egyptians mean light, means the sun.
Sun.
It means if you see in Hebrew, Rael, which means Iso El, Elohim, and also Rael is the light of the Elohim, is the son of the Elohim, is the light of the Elohim, and this is the one that is bringing peace into the world, is bringing the light of the Elohim, is bringing, so much love and peace into the world by his speech, his love. Always, since the last 50 years, he has been just devoting his life.
You probably know this, but if you don't, the Superman character, Superman.
Mm-hmm.
You know his real name is Kal-El.
Oh,
did you know this?
No,
Superman's name is Kal-El. His father was Jor-El. 2 Jewish men created Superman, I think in the 1930s. They were probably in New York, 2 Jewish men. And, they were thinking about Hitler and the Nazis. And wouldn't it be great if a human man had the power to destroy evil? So Kal-El, you should tell Rael that Kal-El, Superman, is an L. And he's an L. I thought maybe that would be of interest to you. Okay, so tell me a little bit more. Now I have a question for you. According to ancient astronaut theory, the Anunnaki created mankind. And according to the Raelian Movement, the Elohim created mankind. Are the Elohim and the Anunnaki, are they 2 different races of extraterrestrials?
In the messages of the Elohim, they're not mentioning any Anunnaki. According to me, according to the Sumerian text, according to what I heard on Zachariah Sitchin, who studied the tablets, the Sumerian tablets, according to me, these Anunnaki were those who were, well, let me tell you a little bit more about the story. The Elohim, some creators, some artists, and some scientists, before coming into our planet and start creating life, they start creating life in their own planet. Then those people they create were like a little bit like monsters. They escape and they kill and hurt many of them. So the government of the planet of the Elohim told them, you cannot create any people here. One day when you will be able to find another planet, go there and make whatever you want. But never tell them that we have the way we create them, because we don't know what kind of species this will be, if they're smarter than us, or they want one day to come and attack us, because they were 25,000 years ahead of us, but they still didn't know what kind of people the others will be able to create. So when they came to our planet and create, as it's mentioned, from the tree of knowledge they shall not eat. The tree of knowledge is what they call the famous apple that Adam and Eve took and ate, and so and so, which is a story. This tree of life was knowledge. And this knowledge, those who created man on our planet were not supposed to reveal to them the truth. Those who reveal to the ones they created the truth were in exile from their planet. They were not allowed, they were punished for disobeying their orders. Now, I believe these are the ones that were the Anunnakis that stay in Sumer, which is actually Iraq. They stay there. They stay there, and we can know by the Tower of Babel which was not a tower, it was a spaceship, to come, not maybe to fight the Elohim, or maybe to come into their planet and tell them, hey, we want to be forgiven and want to come back. So this, according to me, these are the ones that we call the Anunnaki.
So
because if you see the Sumerian tablets and the knowledges Anunnaki had, they knew about solar system, they knew about planets, they knew about galaxies and all that. And you can see it. I mean, these people were, according to me, these were the Elohim that were expelled or expropriated or in exile, according to me. But that's my own interpretation, because it's not.
I think Anunnaki in Hebrew means those who from the heavens came.
Also Elohim.
And Elohim means the same.
In Hebrew means those who come from the skies.
So they were related. The two races must have been related in some fashion.
Well, if my conclusion is right, the Anunnakis are part of the Elohim civilization.
Okay, I think that's the only way it makes sense, right? Essentially, they were doing the same thing. Okay, tell me about Rael's experience. We talked about when he first. He met Yahweh in 1973, and then he went there 6 consecutive days.
That's
and Yahweh gave him messages. There's a lot of messages. Did Rael have just pads and pens? Because he wrote down a lot of stuff, and there's no way he could have remembered all that.
Well, Rael mentioned that he was writing like an automat.
Automatic writing.
Automatic writing. I mean, he was sitting and writing, and he was writing and writing and writing without even thinking of what he was writing. So that's probably a way of telepathically transmission or telepathically induction by the Elohim, that he could write the message according to what they told him.
Okay, a real quick story. This is my science fiction book. This is about 2 benevolent aliens who come to Earth in the near future and to save mankind. And it's a very long story, but right after my father died, I went to a deli to get a pastrami sandwich, and this book was downloaded. It was downloaded into me from above. It came into my head from above, and I did automatic writing. And I write a book about benevolent aliens. Lead character's father knew about UFOs, and then I wrote ATC, and my hand stopped moving, and I looked at it, and I said, after they came, ATC, after they came. So this is the book that made me kind of famous. So it's the only time in my life that I experienced automatic writing. But I did it, and I know it's a real thing. It happened to me. It really did. Tell me about Rael's.
You mentioned the word Nephilim.
Nephilim, right?
Many rabbis, many Hebrews, when you told him what is Nephilim, they told him giants. Giants in Hebrew is Anakim, not Nephilim. Nephilim come from the Hebrew word Naphol, which means those who have fallen down. Naphol is to fall. So those who fall down, from where? From the skies.
But were the giants the offspring of human women and what? Anunnaki?
They were no giants. The Nephilim are no giants.
Who were the giants?
Nephilim in Hebrew, as I said, comes from the word Naphol. Naphol means those who fall down. It doesn't mean they were giants. Maybe they look at them like, they were coming from the skies, and they look big when they arrive with I don't know what equipment, or their suits from outer space or whatever, and they imagine they were giants. But the word Nephilim and giants have nothing to do. Nephilim means those who fall down, as simple as that.
There was a race of giants on the earth. It's been proven.
Possible.
They found 9-foot tall skeletons all over the world. My son went to Machu Picchu when he was in high school, and the stairs up to the
Oh yeah,
mountaintop
very big.
are there's so many feet in between. You'd have to be a giant to walk up those stairs. So there were giants. I'm not sure what race they
Possibly
were.
because when you know the story about Goliath, that was also a giant. When they
Yes.
when he fight
Right.
with David, he
David
was
and
also
Goliath.
a giant from the Philistines. So it possibly, but I mean, I go according to what's written in the book, and I didn't see that there were giants here. So it's possible because if we are in an infinite space, and as you know, our symbol, which is the symbol of the Elohim,
Right.
very controversial for Jewish people,
Because the swastika in the middle there.
means the two triangles means infinitely large and infinitely small. And the swastika in the middle, which have nothing to do with Nazism,
Right.
with the Nazi time, this is an original Hindu sign. And it's the oldest in the world because it's purity. And it means infinity. Infinity in space and infinity in time. Which means, let me explain, because it's very hard to explain infinity or to understand infinity, we have to feel it. We are, to make it a little bit an image, we are on a planet. This planet is on a solar system. The solar system is on a galaxy. The galaxy is in a universe, infinite, and this universe is an atom of a molecule that of something or someone that is alive, which is not a god. It could be a worm or a fish or a cat. I don't know. Even the Elohim don't know. And
The Elohim told Rael there is no God as we've all grown up thinking of the man with the white beard and a chair in the sky.
Let me first of all finish this explanation about infinity.
Sure.
So this giant, or call it whatever you want, it could be also a worm, as I said, or a cat, is also looking at another planet, and he is an atom of a molecule of something that is much bigger than himself. It's like the Russian dolls, one inside the other.
Right,
now,
right.
in one atom of one of our cells, that's a universe by itself. That's an infinite universe by itself, which is composed with galaxies, solar systems, planets, and where there is a life. Now, maybe the time we breathe is maybe 100 years for them. And the time for this giant being that we compose ourselves is maybe the time that he breathes is 100 years or less. So the difference between the infinity in space and infinity in time, it's huge. And automatically, if we are in an infinite universe, which means in Hebrew, and as you know Hebrew, Ein Sof, which no end. There is no end and there is no beginning. So in this infinite universe, there are billions of galaxies, billions of solar systems, billions of planets, which are habitated. Maybe not all of them, but in great majority. And there are billions of extraterrestrial civilizations out there. Billions and billions and billions, because it's infinite.
Right.
And this is what this symbol represents, infinity in space and time.
I'm surprised you don't have the more modern version of the logo. It's like the swirl.
This was done when
there.
I was in Israel. We used to do this, but the original symbol and the one that was on the Elohim suit when they made Rael, this is the one.
Oh, that was
this
on
is
the
original Hebrew symbol. And I saw it I saw this symbol in Israel, in Capernaum. I saw it in an old synagogue in En Gedi, and we have it also, this swastika, in the Museum of Haifa as well.
So swastika was originally meant to represent eternal infinity.
No, swastika is infinity on time. Infinity on time. And this, as you know, this symbol, it's Asian, in all Asian temples, especially in India, you have this swastika. This have nothing to do with Hitler or Nazis.
Hitler appropriated it for his own purposes.
Appropriated it because of many reasons. First of all, to make it hate by Jews, because he probably knew this was the complement of the Star of David. The second thing is a symbol of purity and perfection. And this is maybe he used this symbol because he wanted to make the Aryan race and of purity. So, but the way by killing everyone to make it so pure, I mean,
he was a brilliant marketer. He was a horrible creature, but he did very well with his branding and his marketing.
Probably very smart and very, very. His mind was not very, very clear, because someone who can kill millions of people because of the race or the religion or their color of skin, that's this lack of love and total lack of love.
Absolutely right. So Rael met with Yahweh again in 1975, and that time Yahweh took him to the planet of the Eternals, which is one of his planets. So tell me about that experience.
Yes. On October 7, 1975, Rael felt the urge one night to go out of his place. And not far from there, he walked in the woods. Not far from there, he saw the same craft that he saw on December 13, 1973. Then he was invited once again into the craft, and then they took him to the Elohim planet, to the planet of the Eternals, because the Elohim have two planets. One where all the Elohim live, and another one which is the planet of the Eternals, which is what we call in Hebrew Gan Eden. And what means Gan Eden? The garden of DNA.
Garden of DNA. Oh, okay.
Of course.
Okay.
This is where they create a human being. And the main, what's most important is when he arrived there, they need to explain. And they took one cell from his forehead, and they put that into a machine, and they reproduce a copy conform of Rael, a clone of himself, but without any knowledge, without any consciousness, without nothing, just a body.
How long did that take, do you think?
Well, it took him a few minutes.
A few minutes? They put it in the machine, and then Rael, the clone...
Him. They took his cell, one of his cells.
No, I know that. I know. Yeah, they put it in the machine, and then a few minutes later, the clone of Rael came out of the machine.
Come out of the machine. And they explain him, we live between, our expectancy of life is between 700 to 1,000 years without any disease. Between 700 and 1,000 years, our body gets old. So what we do, we take one cell like we just did with you, we reproduce another clone of the same human being. Now, the same way nowadays, you can download, you buy a new computer and you download the memory from your old computer into the new one. We have the knowledge and the technology to download all the memory from one human being into the new body of the other one. So with all the souvenirs, all his knowledge, all his teaching, everything he knew on his life, and we download that, and then the other body is not useful because it's too old. So this body will be between 18 to 20 years old or 22, and he can live between 700 to 1,000 years and then we reproduce the same body through cloning by transferring also his knowledge and all his souvenirs and all that into the new bodies every time. And this is the only way to reach eternal life.
Didn't they do something with Rael's mother? He had a vision of his mother, and they created his mother for him, or something.
He had a picture of his mother, and they create his mother just like that, just to make him understand. This is the same like when they took Moses into that. They say it was in Mount Sinai, but it was never Mount Sinai, because when the Jewish people went out of Egypt, they got lost during 40 years in the desert. Right. So the way they entered through Jordan, the rivers of Jordan, it means they went through Saudi Arabia, and then they entered to rivers of Jordan instead of entering through Egypt, which is close to Mount Sinai. So when Moses, they say Moses was in the mountain and Mount Sinai during 40 days and 40 nights, they took him to their planet and show him the same way. But for Rael, who was more modern and with more knowledge and more technology that we have right now, and what we had 50 years ago, they explained him that in 24 hours, which Moses maybe took him 40 days and 40 nights. When they say also Jesus was in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, they probably took him as well to the planet to show him. And then Rael met, when he was in their planet, Rael met with all the prophets of all, which means he had supper with them, with Moses, with Jesus, with Buddha, with Muhammad, and all those. And also they were, sitting all together just to show him they can create these people back to life among them, those who deserve it, to live eternally among them.
So the planet of the Eternals is for the Elohim prophets.
Not only for everyone that have done good for humanity, that have devoted their life doing good for humanity, then they can recreate any human being after the death. Because the Elohim, since we are born and even before, they have the genetic code which is unique to each and every one of us.
Right.
To recreate the same human being. So they have that in a machine. They can just take the genetic code and reproduce another human being.
I think the most remarkable part of the whole book was when he's having dinner with Moses and Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha.
They laugh at that, but I mean, when you understand properly that these people can create another human being just with one cell, or even by taking his genetic code, reproduce the same human being, as each and every one of us have their own unique genetic code. It's very simple to understand. I mean, it's a matter of being open-minded, understanding, and stop believing. Because until now, all we have done and all we have been taught is to believe. And what if you don't do this? Something happened to you. And if you don't follow this like that, or you don't eat kosher, or so you know the story. You went through that like I went through that.
I did as a child.
In our Jewish education. So, the only thing is to be open-minded. Open that book and read it. That, as I said, this intelligent design book can be downloaded in any languages because it's translated in all languages. It's free. You can download it for free. We're not asking any money. Read it with an open mind once again. And ask yourself just one question.
That's the key.
What if this is true?
That's what I did when I was reading it. What if this was true?
What if this is true? Because if it's true, if you have just the open-minded to read completely and question yourself, what if this is true? That will make the whole difference.
See, I would love to send this book to my mother, because my mother is 91. and very Jewish.
Oh,
and I've tried to tell her about extraterrestrials. Danny, there's no aliens. There's no aliens, Danny. There's no aliens. It's enough with the aliens. That's my mother. So trying to open her mind. It's very hard to do, my friend.
I think the books are also in audio. So maybe you can have the audio, because for her it will be maybe better to read it, to listen to it than reading it. But it's okay, But
did Rael record
at her age, nothing will change unless she
nothing will change.
Can
she's too old to change.
But
it's not going to happen. All right, so in the Netflix documentary, they presented some controversies, two in particular. One is that Rael and your movement seem to be asking people for money, which I know is for the embassy. And the other is that you propose that sexual inhibition is great and wonderful, which I agree with. And in the documentary, everyone's making love outside naked by the swimming pool. So people that I know think that Raelians are a cult, and you've heard this before. How do you address some of the criticisms that you've gotten over the years?
First of all, what is a cult? A cult, what's the difference between a cult and a religion? It's just the number of people.
The word cult has a negative connotation.
The Christians, after Jesus, they were a cult of Jewish people, of the Jewish tradition.
Right.
They were a cult until the number becomes so big, then become a religion. That's a parenthesis. The second thing regarding Netflix, we are considered to be very dangerous because we're telling the truth. And this is the only truth about our origins. And the truth hurt because governments, they don't want people to know the truth. Religions, they don't want people to know the truth because it will destroy the myth of God. And just to open another parenthesis, the day true cloning, like the Elohim do by taking one cell and reproducing another human being, true cloning, the day someone in a laboratory is going to create another human being, there is no place anymore for God. The mystery of God is over, because if one man can create another one, there is no more God. Now, let's go back to the Netflix.
Oh yeah, wait, hold on 1 second. This was the show that I said.
Yeah, right. I said that's
Rael, the Last
Netflix.
Prophet. Right.
Yeah. Well, listen, on Netflix, they say money. What money do we have? The only money we can, it's recommended in the messages to give is 1% to Rael to help him do his mission. And not everybody gives the 1%. The second is that Rael never asked for money, and he doesn't get a salary. Now, all the guides in the movement, in order to spread this message, now we have internet, but before that, we had to print the books. Right. We had to sell the books. We need money to print these books. We need money to print flyers. We need money to spread the message. We needed money to make lectures and develop countries. So the guides, the College of Guides in the Raelian Movement, they decided to ask for 10%, like the DIM, they ask in the church, 10% of your income to help us print the books, make print flyers, spread the message, go on radio, rent a hall to give lectures, and all that. So Rael didn't ask for it. Some guides, before I arrived, have decided of this 10%. But this goes only not to pay salaries to anyone, as we are all volunteers, including Rael doesn't get a penny from these contributions of 10%. These 10% are just 3% for the country that got this 10%. 7% goes to the international Raelian Movement, which is to spread the messages and build the embassy. And 3% stays in the country that collect that money, that they could develop that country with the messages and flyers and all what they need, renting halls, doing lectures, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. Now, that's where the money is. Now,
Okay.
if they talking or criticizing this 10%, how many billions the Vatican have that they are supposed to have just one pair of sandals and one suit only, with all the poor people around the world, and they're full of gold everywhere?
Right.
Where is the cult, and who is the cult?
That's
Us
good.
or the Catholic Church?
That's a very good point. Yep.
The second thing regarding sexuality is that the Elohim have created us to their image, and we shouldn't be afraid of our bodies. We shouldn't be ashamed of our bodies. And when you have sex with someone, it's not just, excuse the word, not just to fuck. It's just to feel the love between two people. And this is what the Elohim do. And this only is among adults. And they're trying to say, oh, we have sex with children. That's not true. It's the same like in Spain, at the time of the Inquisition, the Spanish people, at the time of Isabel the Catholic, were saying that the Jewish people were killing children to make the Kiddush, which is the prayer of Friday night, with the blood of the children. And they used to drink the blood. That was completely a lie. Like in Germany, they were saying many women disappeared because they were kidnapped by Jewish people in their stores where they were trying a suit or something, a dress. This is the only way to destroy people, with children and money. And this is what they're trying to do, because we are disturbing the system, because we are telling the truth, because we don't believe in God. According to the Elohim messages, there is no God and there is no soul. There is nothing like that happened, that after someone dies, he goes to the sky to sit close to God. And that's bullshit. That's what we have been taught, because people need something to hold on life. Oh, right. I'm gonna be recreated after death. I'm gonna be with God after death. Or if you're not good, you go to hell. There is no hell either. There is no hell. Don't be afraid. There is no God and there is no soul. People, what happened to them is that they need two crutches. On one side, it's God. The other one is the soul. Because if they don't have the two, they fall down. They are not able to stand on their feet. And on this book, Intelligent Design, either if you stop believing and try to understand this message that's coming from our creators, the Elohim, the ones who created man to their image and likeness, you can either continue to believe or you can try to understand. And as I say, ask yourself just a simple question. What if this is true? If you think it could be true, try it.
I had a problem with the no soul, and I'll tell you why. 4 days after my father died, he spoke to me in the middle of the night in my bedroom. He spoke to me out loud. It shook me awake. My whole bed shook, and he told me a message that's a private message. And it was my father. He spoke to me. So if there's no soul, and my father was ashes at the time, he was dead in a box of ashes, how did my father speak to me that way? How did that happen? In your opinion?
Could be telepathy. Could be your link with your father that made you understand that he was talking to you, or you got a message from him that it doesn't mean it's sold. Our brain kept telepathy. And we have the souvenirs on our genetic codes. And that's very powerful, because inside yourself, there is some of your father and some of your mother.
Oh, no, sure, of course.
And that's the only answer I can give you according to what I know.
Well, his spirit, because he was dead, so his body did not exist. So, right, we agreed there was no body there.
Of course there is
and
no
if
body.
there was, well, his body was in ashes in a box. I mean, his physical human body on the earth was in a box. And he spoke to me out loud, a loud sentence that shook my bed and woke me up. And the message turned out to be true, something I did not know. It turned out to be true. So if it was telepathy, that's fine. But
it could be a dream as well.
No, it was not a dream. It was not a dream, I promise you. That's terrific. Let's all meditate for peace. Thank you, Rabbi, for your time. Just sit tight for 1 second. Thank you all for watching this week. From Hollywood, it's Paranormal Tonight. I appreciate it. I'm Dan Harary. I'll see you next week. Thank you.